Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Jonathan Voico.
Hello, hello.
Robert Meyer Burnett.
How's it going?
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show a part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show is the most important. That's when we take your comments and questions. Now, if you have a thought, theory, opinion, or question you'd like me to address here on the show, as long as I deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, you got two ways you can send in a question. First way, if you're not watching this show live, maybe you're watching it a little bit later in the day, you can use our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. You can go over there and fire in a question that we'll address on our next show. Again, as long as it's appropriate to be addressed on the show. Or if you are watching live, hello everybody watching live, you can use the super chat feature in the live chat to send in a question. And once again, we'll get to those in the second part of the show. All right, guys, with that all down, let's get things started off here, shall we? We're going to start off with this. History was made the other day. You can't overstate this. The previous all-time first 24-hour views record of a movie was Deadpool and Wolverine at 300-something million views in the first 24 hours.
For the trailer.
All-time record for the first 24 hours of a trailer. The Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer came out, nearly doubled it. 712, 715, 700 and something.
Like 18 or something like
718, like that, million, nearly doubling the previous record. Yeah. Now, I said on the show at the time when that happened, and I stand by this, that will never happen again. Like, we will see another trailer, maybe Endgame or Doomsday, come along and beat Spider-Man's new record eventually. But we will never again see a day where the first 24 hours views record of a trailer will be nearly doubled. That was history that we just saw. It's never going to happen again. Crazy. Well, it set a new landmark, as according to this story in Variety, Spider-Man Brand New Day makes history as the first trailer now to cross 1 billion views. By the way, I can't help but chuckle when it says exclusive, like they're the only ones who can read numbers. But anyway, I love Variety, but and it's now 1.1 billion views. Now again, this just kind of reiterates the insane amount of attention and interest that this movie has. Now again, there's not a direct correlation between number of views of your trailer to box office dollars. But as we talked about on a previous show, the previous top 10 list of the most viewed trailers, all but one of them are in the $1 billion club. I think the only one that wasn't in the $1 billion club was It. The trailer
and it was
for
close.
It.
And that was rated R.
And that was rated R, and it was close, and all that kind of stuff. But, so I'm not saying it's a direct correlation, but it does tell us there is an insane amount of interest in this. Now, I have speculated, and I believe that part of the reason, certainly not entirely, but part of the reason for these numbers is because Marvel's been on a bit of a roll. Something they have not been on since 2019. We have not been able to say the words Marvel's on a roll in almost 7 years. But recently they had Thunderbolts, which is great, Fantastic Four, which is really good. We had Wonder Man, which was fantastic. We'll talk more about Wonder Man a little bit later. And I think that has added to the enthusiasm here. And again, Rob, it makes me wonder, how big will this movie be? We're now seeing it over the 1 billion views mark, something that other Avengers movies haven't been able to do. Certainly not had nearly the first 24-hour views here. And we go back to that discussion we had, Rob, where I said, Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to be massive. It's going to be huge. I can easily seeing it join the $1 billion club, but not the $2 billion club. I am no longer so sure of that. I'm not saying it's a lock guarantee that it makes $2 billion. There are still some things working against it, right? Not as many people going to the movies today as there were back in 2019. Marvel's rep is improving right now, but it's probably lower than it was back in 2019. But even I, Rob, with numbers like this, are starting to think 2 billion may be on the map. And this is just staggering numbers to see. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to see these numbers. By the way, if everybody who watched the trailer went to go see the movie at an average ticket price in America of $12, you're talking about $12 billion. That's it. Spider-Man is going to be the first member of the $12 billion
That's
club.
more people that live on this planet.
I mean, so anyway, Rob, you had a chance to see this. What do you think?
Well, I mean, Spider-Man, of all the superheroes, I think Spider-Man is the one, even more so than Batman, because Spider-Man is more kid-friendly than Batman
True.
is.
Yes.
And I think, look, I remember watching The Electric Company when I was a kid. Today's episode is brought to you, by the letter or Spider-Man or whatever, the letter A or whatever. And Spider-Man was on The Electric Company, and there was Spider-Man, Firestar. By the way, maybe Sadie Sink is playing Firestar. I think that Spider-Man is ingrained in all of us, all of our cultures, all around the world. He's probably the most, other than Superman, the most recognizable superhero. But even Superman, Spider-Man is a kid. Peter Parker was in high school. He's probably the most relatable superhero to everyone. And it wouldn't surprise me to see this movie make that much money because everybody loves Spider-Man. Everybody. I've never met a person in my life. I've met people that didn't like Batman. I've met people that think Superman's a big Boy Scout. I don't think I've ever heard someone say they didn't like Spider-Man.
Now, I've seen people say they don't like certain Spider-Man projects.
Well,
but
sure.
Never somebody in general just say, I just don't like Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, hell, there's even Japanese Spider-Man.
That's
fights
hilarious.
monsters.
Have you ever seen the Japanese?
Yeah, I love it. Love it.
Did you ever see giant Spider-Man team up with Godzilla?
Dude, come on.
To fight other giant monsters?
Giant Spider-Man is ubiquitous. I'm sure there's Turkish Spider-Man. There must be a Turkish Spider-Man movie. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. And if this movie's good, I mean, it looks like if they do the Man-Spider storyline, I mean, it's touching on comics, it's touching on animated shows, it's touching on a lot of, it's got ninjas, it's touching on a lot of, what doesn't this movie have in it?
Dinosaurs. And
Devil Dinosaur. Devil Dinosaur. You never know. You never know. And maybe there's a scene of a dinosaur in the Natural History Museum or some shit like that. I don't know, dude. But it would not surprise me that this movie's going to make $2 billion if it's good.
Yeah, again, once it all comes down to that, right? It all comes down to...
Look, I didn't love Deadpool and Wolverine, but it didn't surprise me that it made $1.5 billion. Or whatever,
I did love Deadpool. Yeah, no, I know. I'm partly responsible for that $1.3 billion that movie made. But anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? This Spider-Man trailer just continues to shatter records. Exactly how big will this movie be? And as a side question, how big do you think the Avengers Doomsday trailer is going to be? Can it beat it? Can it not? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is story time.
Should I do some music?
Once upon a time, there was a magical land of streaming. In that magical land, there were 3 majestic kingdoms. The kingdom of Netflix, the kingdom of Paramount, and the kingdom of Warner Brothers. Each had a grand king, and each king had a loyal advisor known as a vizier. As we went over to the kingdom of Netflix, there was great King Ted Sarandos, who had not 1, but 2 viziers. Vizier Cindy Holland and Vizier Bella Bajaria. Vizier Cindy Holland was responsible for bringing delightful entertainment to the people of Netflix, with shows like Stranger Things, House of Cards, The Crown, Orange is the New Black, Narcos, BoJack Horseman, Ozark, When They See Us, Mindhunter, and The Queen's Gambit.
That's a hell of a list.
She was a favored vizier of King Ted. But then he also had Vizier Bella Bajaria, who gave the people other entertainment, such as Squid Game, Bridgerton, Wednesday, Money Heist, Lupin, Love is Blind, The Witcher, Cobra Kai, Dahmer, and Formula One Drive to Survive.
I like that, Bella.
Indeed, he had 2 loyal viziers. But one day, King Ted said to himself, This is too complex for the people of Netflix. They need one vizier. So he sat down with Vizier Cindy Holland and said, "You suck!" and kicked her out of the kingdom.
How dare he?
And away she went. So she went to the kingdom of Paramount, where she became the loyal vizier to King Ellison.
Those are the horseshoes.
And Ellison and the people of Paramount were filled with joy that they finally had a vizier, bringing with her all the experience of the great entertainment she had provided the folks of Netflix. Well, also, there was another kingdom. There was the kingdom of Warner Brothers, led by King Axe Zaslav. And he had the most revered vizier in all of the land, Vizier Blois. Casey Blois loved his king, and they delivered great entertainment to the people. For instance, Vizier Blois delivered shows like Succession, The White Lotus, The Last of Us, House of the Dragon, Chernobyl, Watchmen, Euphoria, Barry, Mayor of Easttown, and many award-winning shows like Hacks. And that was the state of the kingdom. But then one day, it was announced to the people in the land that the kingdom of Paramount would be absorbing the kingdom of Warner Brothers to protect its people and make them one kingdom.
No.
Oh, King Ellison was very pleased. But one of the reasons King Ellison was so happy was that he would get a second vizier. Vizier Casey Blois of Warner Brothers would now become one of his viziers. Huzzah!
Yay!
And there was joy amongst the kingdoms.
Was there?
But then, scandal erupted in the land, as it became known that several peasants and villagers spotted King Ted of Netflix and Vizier Blois of Warner Brothers meeting together and supping in a brothel called the Skanky Bum. Yes, that's right. King Ted and Vizier Blois were seen chatting together in the Skanky Bum.
Is that true?
Yes, all factual.
And oh, the conspiracy. People thought, is this betrayal? Before Vizier Blois even joins with King Ellison, he's already betraying him. And so the kingdom was left in great confusion about where Vizier Blois would eventually serve.
He's playing the Game of Thrones.
And thus endeth story time. All right.
And this music.
So there we go. Story time.
I love that there's Scriptwood Village
Yeah.
on that map.
I am afraid somebody's going to now make a shirt called the Skanky Bum. Anyway, so the moral of this story, ladies and gentlemen, is that, yes, indeed, as you guys know, Paramount has won the bidding war to take over Warner Brothers, and they've said they want to keep all the executives, and one of the crown jewels of all that is Casey Blois. Again, we went down just quickly, but let's look at this list again. Ever since Casey Blois took over as president of content, and now later promoted and given the title of CEO of HBO, he's been responsible for Succession, White Lotus, Last of Us, like all these major award winners. Mm-hmm. House of the Dragon, Chernobyl, Watchmen, Euphoria, Barry, which, by the way, Barry doesn't get talked about enough. That show's amazing. Mayor of Easttown was insanely good. Hacks keeps winning multiple Emmys every year. I mean, he's a prize to get. So the assumption has been that he's going to go over to Paramount as well. But there is a problem. The problem is that Vizier Holland, Cindy Holland, who was at Netflix and summarily, unceremoniously, I should say, kicked out, and she has an impressive resume. She's the head of all content, of all streaming content. She's the head of Paramount Plus. She's the head of Tubi, not Tubi. What's the other free streaming one they've got? It's not called Tubi. It's called, I'm forgetting the name of it, but she's in charge of all of that kind of stuff, which has raised, like you said, you mentioned Game of Thrones.
Pluto?
What's it? Pluto. That's what it was. Pluto TV. So she's the head of Pluto TV and Paramount Plus, all streaming. So there's a Game of Thrones Succession kind of game being played now because, number one, it's been kind of well known and stated in the trades that Casey Blois does not have the same philosophies as David Ellison does. there's speculation right from day one that he wasn't going to want to work for David Ellison. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's been the speculation. And so, and his contract, Casey Bloys's contract ends in 2027, next year. So he's going to be a free agent. And so the question has been, if he does go over to Paramount, is he going to be the new vizier? Is he going to be the head of all streaming? And then Cindy Holland reports to him? Or is Cindy Holland already firmly established there? Because you know what? At Warner Brothers, he's got one boss. That's it. David Zaslav, period. He only answers to the CEO of the whole company. If he goes over to Paramount, there may be a situation where his former competitor, Cindy Holland, becomes his boss. Maybe he doesn't want that. But that also brings up kind of the same situation over at Netflix, because while Cindy is no longer in the picture, Bella Bajari is still there. She's what is her, the chief content officer, I believe that's her title. She's in charge of all content.
She can be in charge of anything.
Okay, Rob,
easy.
let's stay on topic.
Take it easy. She's the head of all content. And so if he goes over there, does he take over the job? Now, this is all because, this report here, CEO of Netflix, Ted Sarandos, was spotted having lunch, not at the brothel known as the Skanky Bum, but at a restaurant, I believe it's called Superba or something like that. Anyway, high-profile place in LA.
By the way, that was by choice.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Oh.
We'll get to that. It's a high-profile place. And Netflix has acknowledged that the two of them, Casey Bloys and Netflix head Ted Sarandos, did just have lunch there. Now, listen, the only reason you have lunch there, I'm sure it's a very good place, but is if you want to be spotted.
Right.
If they didn't want to be spotted, Bloys would have gone to the Netflix lot and had lunch. If they wanted to go somewhere, they would have gone to some little hole-in-the-wall restaurant in Glendale or something.
Skanky Bum.
Maybe the Skanky Bum.
Yeah.
Not a lot of paparazzi hanging out
Good fries there.
So they very intentionally went and had lunch, where they very intentionally were going to be seen.
It was like an entourage move.
It very much is an entourage move. So again, does something like that mean that he would bump out Bajaria, which, I mean, he's bumped out their VPs before, because remember, Cindy Holland and Bella Bajaria, they were both co-vice presidents. They were both, neither one of them answered to each other. They both only answered to Ted, and they were both creating their own stuff. But could he be replacing Bella? Because I don't see Casey Bloys wanting to go to either of those places to be given another boss.
No.
I just don't think that's going to happen. So I don't know. Again, major Game of Thrones vibes, major Succession vibes here. Rob, you know, I have not thought, I don't think James Gunn or Casey Bloys are going to stay at Paramount / Warner Brothers after their 2027 contracts run. I think they're both out. Paramount's already made it public. They want to keep both of them. I don't, you know, Netflix's thing was, yes, Ted and Casey Bloys had lunch. It was just two friends catching up. Sure.
Could happen.
It's possible. And if you believe that, good for you. Anyway, Rob, you heard the tale of the Three Kingdoms.
It was a well-told tale, I have to say.
What do you think's going to be happening here with Casey Bloys, head of HBO?
Kudos to the Bard. I would say, look, Casey Bloys is certainly his own man, you know, and HBO is still the Tiffany standard of all of these streaming series, I think, or streaming. What would you kingdoms? Streaming kingdoms. Yeah. But it wouldn't surprise me to see somebody like him go over to Netflix. I think the real problem here is that, you know, what is Paramount going to do to Warner? Paramount hasn't even shown what it's going to do with Paramount. And now it's going to take over. Yeah. It's going to take over a studio that aces Paramount on every level. There's no, it's like a minor league team taking over a major league team.
Yeah.
And they're going to go in there and they're going to what? They're going to manage their minor league. The minor league team's going to show up and manage it like it's a major league.
So it's going to be the Colorado Rockies.
But Rob, Paramount gave us Starfleet Academy.
And where's that? Bye-bye. Thank God. But I mean, but that's a real issue. I mean, you know, Warner Brothers is cooking with fire, and Paramount doesn't even know what recipes they're going to use. And that's a hard thing to deal with. And I just feel that all I'm interested in, John, is great entertainment. Where am I going to get my great entertainment from? That's it. Give me great shows and give me great movies. And Warner Brothers showed in the last year, and with their current ongoing slate of films, might they have a miss like The Bride? Sure. But you know what? That was a swing and a miss. But that was a big swing.
Yeah. It was a creative swing.
It was a creative swing, and you can't look at a movie like The Bride and go, well, that was half-assed. You let Maggie Gyllenhaal embrace, and everybody worked hard on that movie and tried to make something really, really special. But, 1 out of 8 hits or 1 miss out of 8 is pretty good. If studios kept that up, that's a pretty great batting average. So, I want to see where Warner Brothers is going to continue to go. And they've got some really interesting stuff coming out for the rest of the year. Dune 3. We got Supergirl coming, which I'm not writing Supergirl off.
No, I think it's going to be really good.
I think it's going to be really good, too. And so they've got more great stuff coming down the pike. All of this Game of Thrones stuff it's all court intrigue and all of that, and I get it. But all I want to know is where are the best people going to wind up to make the best programming. And the funny thing is Warner Brothers, it's unfortunate that Warner Brothers already has all that stuff. And now Paramount's going to come in and wreck it all. And good for you guys. Well done, folks. Let's see what you're going to do. I just look at this and I go, I dread the whole thing.
But I mean, like, in David Ellison's defense, which are words you don't hear me say often, but in David Ellison's defense, it's one thing to have the plan. Like, if his plan was, look, and apparently this was the plan, we want to keep James Gunn and Peter Safran, we want to keep Casey Bloyd.
Sure.
We are going to have these riches of talented people all under one roof with the talent that we already have. And listen, there are some very talented people over at Paramount. I know some of the execs at Paramount. And so do you, as a matter of fact. So the idea is interesting. Like, I still think figure out how to run Paramount first, then worry about taking over the company. But I can applaud and appreciate grandeur. I can applaud and appreciate that. The problem becomes when you don't calculate what may or may not be realistic with your plan. Because the plan is great, but if James Gunn splits, your DC is ruined. If Casey Bloys splits, well, there goes the creative heart and soul of HBO, at least for the last 10 years. And so it becomes more and more shaky. Now, maybe he thinks, no big deal. Like, maybe he thinks, okay, if Casey splits, I got plan B. I've got Cindy Holland, who showed at Netflix she could do a pretty damn good job. So maybe he's thinking plan B is fine. I mean, I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. My guess is by the end of 2027, we're going to be talking about Casey Bloys, new chief content officer of Netflix. That's my guess, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? A lot of intrigue, a lot of stuff going on. How do you think it's all going to shake out? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, it was with a lot of excitement that word came out last year that Jon Bernthal was going to get not a new season of Punisher and not even a Punisher movie, but they were going to revive the special presentations on Disney Plus and give us a Punisher one-shot special presentation. Now, I thought, and a lot of people thought it was going to come sometime in the second half of 2026, but no, we don't have to wait that long. We don't have to wait that long at all. As a matter of fact, we've got less than 2 months to wait because according to new social media posts put out by Disney channels, Frank Castle returns in a Marvel television special presentation, The Punisher. And now we got the title, One Last Kill, coming on May 12th. And what's really interesting about that date is not just that it's like 6 weeks away, 7 weeks away, but it's when it comes in proportion in relation to Daredevil. Daredevil starts tonight, by the way. And by the way, guys, keep your eyes open. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing a Daredevil after show. So keep an eyes on that for later tomorrow night. But tonight it comes with an episode called Northern Star. But I want you to look at this release schedule. Final episode of Daredevil season 2 is May 5th. The very next week is May 12th, which makes me suspect that the ending of Daredevil may set up Punisher One Last Kill, considering it's coming out the very next week, almost like an episode 9 per se. By the way, nobody's told me that. I'm just speculating and guessing at this. Look, I absolutely loved the Punisher series when it was over at Netflix. To me, it came close to equaling the Daredevil series. Like, in all honesty, it really did. I just thought it was that good. I love John Bernthal's Punisher. I thought his Punisher stuff in Daredevil Born Again season 1 was fantastic. And I think this is going to be great. I don't know if this is going to lead to anything else, but I'm just looking forward to this. Rob, I don't know about you, but this is coming a lot sooner than I thought it was going to come. I wasn't expecting it to come the very week after season 2 ends, which I think is terrific. I think this is all great sounding stuff. What do you think about this?
Dude, what's not to love? I mean, come on. I love Frank. And let's face it, this will be the last thing, Punisher One Last Kill, before we get Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Yeah.
So
like
maybe
2 months later.
maybe there's a little bit of a tie into that too. Look, I love John Bernthal. I love him when I see him on talk shows, when he does his own podcast. I just love him. And I think he's great as the Punisher. And so I like the fact that apparently he had the idea for this, pitched it to Marvel, and they went with it. I love that. I love that Kevin Feige's open to doing something like that. I'm glad that is it in black and white?
No.
I don't think so. No.
I just love the idea that they are doing this. What's not to love? And like you said, again, it's yet another. I mean, we're getting Daredevil tonight, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
We're getting Daredevil tonight. That means we're getting this next. So in terms of and we're going to talk a little bit about another thing that we're getting. I think Marvel's 2026 could be the year of Marvel.
It's looking pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, starting with Wonder Man, and going into Daredevil now, then into Punisher, then into Spider-Man, then into Vision, then into Avengers.
And if Punisher, which I think we're kind of assuming this will be great, but if Punisher and Daredevil, we just talked about the role of Marvel. So this continues that steamroll into then Spider-Man Brand New Day, and that's great. I mean, come on.
And then rolling into Vision.
These are all ifs.
Provided these are good.
These are all ifs.
I have heard great things about Born Again season 2. I haven't heard anything about Punisher yet, but I'm going to guess it's probably pretty good. And it could continue that momentum and just build it up, which will just make the response to Spider-Man Brand New Day even bigger, if it is.
And call me crazy, but I can honestly say I believe that Vision Quest is also going to be tremendous.
I would think so too.
Probably going to be great. But this is the other thing. By tailing this all off with Punisher One Last Kill, and everybody knows Punisher is in Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Yeah.
They saw him they featured him in the trailer. This is great strategic planning, because
unbelievable.
If Punisher One Last Kill is really good, and I don't think there's any reason to suspect it won't be, but it might not be, who knows? But if it is really good, it's only going to build the hype for Spider-Man Brand New Day.
I hope at the end of the credits you hear that, like, dun dun dun, the Punisher will return in Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Oh, that'd be great.
I just want to see him put that. Come on.
But did you see that viral video going around? It's fake, but it looks like somebody's got a video camera in a movie theater. It's a little bit shaky. You hear the audience in the background, and the screen goes back in here. The one single note piano keys, dun dun dun.
Oh yeah.
It says Chuck Norris will return.
Oh yeah.
In Avengers Doomsday. It's clearly fake, but I thought that was.
No, he's
funny.
coming back in Secret Wars.
Oh yeah. Well, anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Punisher One Last Kill is coming way sooner than I thought it would. It's going to be the week after the final episode of Daredevil Born Again season 2. May 12th, it's coming. I'm stoked for it. What do you guys think about it? Whatever those thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? If you wanted any more indication that Blade is still in trouble, a news story came out today that two-time Academy Award winner Mahershala Ali has just come on board HBO's series Task Season 2. As reported here in The Hollywood Reporter, Mahershala Ali boards Task Season 2 at HBO. The Oscar winner will join returning star Mark Ruffalo in the drama. Says this, season 2 of Task is beginning to take shape at HBO with the casting of Mahershala Ali. The 2-time Oscar winner will rejoin returning lead Mark Ruffalo in the drama from creator-writer Brad Inglesby. Ali is the first new cast member announced for season 2. Ruffalo is the only confirmed returnee from the show's first season. Ali is also making a return to HBO 7 years after starring the 3rd season of True Detective. That was 7 years ago?
We're going to die soon.
That was 7 years ago?
The 3rd season, but there's been 4, right? But even still, that's still a long time.
Oh my, that was 7 years ago? Anyway, okay, look. To understand how big of a deal this is, at least I think it is, you have to have seen Task season 1. It's phenomenal.
I got to watch it.
It's really good.
Yeah, Martha
and
Plimpton,
Mark
come on.
Ruffalo, by the way, in case that girl sitting with Mark Ruffalo looks a little familiar, you want to feel old? That's the girl from the Goonies.
I know. And Running on Empty.
And Parenthood.
And Parenthood.
Anyway, that's a side note, but guys, believe me, Task is I'm not sitting here saying it's the best HBO show, but it's really good. And Mark Ruffalo is fabulous in it. So the very fact that this is the first official movement we've heard, I mean, they already announced they were going to do season 2, but this is the first real movement. Adding a 2-time Academy Award winner like Mahershala Ali to this, I'm just trying to think of Ruffalo and Ali in a show like this together on screen. Mind blown. Ali would be a great villain in it, but I want him to be like another cop FBI agent so we can get lots of screen time with Ruffalo and him together. Because that's going to be must-watch TV. Absolute must-watch TV. I am stoked for this. Season 1 was incredible. Adding Mahershala Ali. Now, from a genre fan's perspective, listen, many actors can do multiple projects in a year. Him doing Task Season 2 does not mean that Blade is dead, but shooting a show is a longer commitment than shooting a movie. And it's kind of another knock on any hopes about us actually getting Mahershala Ali as Blade. It's a side note, but one I thought I should at least bring up. It's the elephant in the room. Anyway, Rob, you hear this news. What's your takeaway from it?
What is not to love? I love Mahershala Ali. He classes up any joint he walks into. I love that guy. I love his voice. I love the way he looks. I love watching him act. And you know, him in a crime thriller, whether he plays a detective. I mean, I'd love to see him play some really analytical, intelligent detective. But on the other hand, as a Luke Cage fan, he can play one hell of a villain. And so either way, we win. His
Cottonmouth was the best thing of that entire series.
Oh my God. He's so good. He's just so good. And you know, Green Book, I know a lot of people talk about how that's a lesser Best Picture.
I don't agree with anybody that said Green Book was a fabulous movie.
I thought so too.
I'll argue anybody about that.
He is so good in it.
He's phenomenal.
I love him in that movie. And so look, you put Mahershala on anything, I'll show up.
Now let me ask you this. Let's go back to the Blade thing for a sec, because that's whenever any new, fair or unfair, it's a reality. Whenever any announcement with Mahershala Ali comes up, it's going to bring up the question, what does, if anything, this mean for Blade? I don't know. Does this mean nothing at all? Or is it like another little thing that increases your doubt that Blade's ever going to happen? Or I don't know. What does that do for you?
Look, I would love to see him play Blade, but every year that ticks by, he gets older, you know, and not that I think that matters. I mean, if he starts going a little gray, dye his hair. You know, I don't care. I will watch him kick ass and take names as Blade. So he's a little older and a little more seasoned. Wesley Snipes is older and he's great as Blade, you know, and Deadpool, Wolverine. Who bring him on? I mean, I'd love to see Blade in the you know, and if he's not going to play Blade, give him something else. Have him play a mutant in X-Men. You know, I don't care.
What about Mahershala Ali as Bishop?
Bishop, he's a little old. Make him, I know he's got a white face, Mr. Sinister. He would be a great Mr. Sinister. I mean,
sorry, total rabbit trail. You know who else would be a great Mr. Sinister? Lee Pace.
Lee Pace would make
come on.
How good would Lee Pace be as Mr. Sinister?
As Day and Foundation.
By the way, I think I didn't look at the credits, but the new season of Invincible just started. I think I didn't look up any of the credits, but I think Lee Pace is doing the voice of Thrag.
Wow.
I think he's doing the voice
Lee
of
Pace can do no wrong.
Yeah, Lee Pace is so good. Anyway, sorry, gone way down a rabbit trail there. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Apparently, Mahershala Ali is joining season 2 of Task with Mark Ruffalo. I loved that show. I'm so excited for this casting. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. You know, as we are, as movie fans, looking forward to the month of December, you'd be forgiven if all attention, all eyes on us, to quote Will.i.am, are on December 18th. What we are affectionately referring to as Doomsday.
Dun, dun,
where, as of for now, Avengers Doomsday and Dune 3 are both scheduled to come out on the same day. Maybe Doomsday moves. We know Dune is not moving. I don't think Doomsday will move either.
I don't either.
So it's all there. You'd be forgiven if you forgot that just 1 week before that, a little movie franchise that almost made $1 billion with, like, oh, it's what made well over $1 billion between the two of them. But like the first one came within a hair of making $1 billion. Second one made a ton of money too. The third Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart Jumanji movie is scheduled to come out on December 11th, just 1 week before Doomsday. Well, they just made a move. Not to get away from Doomsday, but to leapfrog it. According to Variety, Jumanji 3 has changed its release date from 1 week before Doomsday on December 11th and moved it to 1 week after Doomsday onto Christmas Day. They write the following. Jumanji fans will have to wait a little longer to get back in the game. Sony Columbia Pictures shifted the release date for the Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart-led threequel to Christmas Day, 2 weeks after its scheduled December 11th debut. The move strategically shifts Jumanji 3 to hit theaters after the launches of Dune Part 3 and Avengers Doomsday on December 18th, a box office collision also called Doomsday. All right. This is a really interesting move because on the one hand, and you know what? I'm going to spoil the lead here. I think this is a good move on Sony's part. The better move would have been to move Jumanji 3 far away from Doomsday. But if you're looking at these two release dates, 1 week before Doomsday or 1 week after, I think moving it after might be long-term the better move. Here's why. If you open it on December 11th, you're going to get a much bigger opening weekend. Much bigger opening weekend. But here's the problem. After your opening weekend, you're dead. You're dead. You're going to have a big opening weekend, and then on your second weekend, Doomsday and Dune 3 open, and you're not going to drop by this industry standard 50 to 60%. You're going to drop by 80%. You're done. You had a 1 week theatrical run, basically. By moving Jumanji 3, which, by the way, is another movie I'm actually really looking forward to. I don't think Jumanji 2 was quite as good as the first Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart one, but it was still quite entertaining. I like the franchise. By moving it to the week after, you are absolutely hurting your opening weekend chances because there's a lot of people who are going to be going back on the second weekend of Doomsday to see Dune again, to see Doomsday again. You're hurting your opening weekend. But your second week potential, your third week prospects, your fourth week prospects, I would contend and submit are probably much better than your second, third, and fourth weeks would be if you opened before Doomsday. Again, the one thing that they've got going in their favor is that the month of December is by far the biggest movie-going month of the year. Bigger than summer movie season, bigger than anything else. December and Christmas Day is the number one movie theater attended day of the calendar year. There's a lot of business to go around.
Yeah, it's Christmas weekend when they open, right?
Yep.
So there you go.
It's Christmas Day it's going to open.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I personally, if I were them, I would move Jumanji to January 12th or maybe move it in November. But there is a lot of business to be done. But if you had to pick between the week before Doomsday or the week after Doomsday, I'd put it the week after Doomsday. Anyway, Rob, you saw this move. Right move, wrong move? Is there a third option? What do you think?
No, I actually think it's the right move because you're opening this on. This is more of a family Christmas movie than either Doomsday or Dune 3. I mean, I think it's the kind of movie that you take the whole family to with a smile on your face. Everybody loves Jumanji. You go have a good time. I think it's absolutely the right move. And I think people will watch it between Christmas and New Year's. It's going to do very, very well during that whole week. I'm not going to take anything away from Dune 3 or Doomsday, but both of those movies are apocalyptic in their scope.
Yeah.
I mean, if Dune 3 is an adaptation of Dune Messiah, that's 61 billion people dead. That's 90 planets sterilized, and that's 40 religions destroyed. Because that's what Paul Atreides does in Dune Messiah. So if, not exactly a Christmas film. Avengers Doomsday, all the multiverse ends. At least if you go by the comics. And then Battle World is born for Secret Wars. I mean, not exactly uplifting either for Christmas Day. But Jumanji, that's fun and magic and fun for the whole family. So, look, I'm not saying that I'm going to go see Dune 3 at Christmas Day and probably both of them on Christmas Day just because I want to. But I think it's a great move for Jumanji. I think it's going to have the rest of the holiday, and it's going to make a ton of money.
Okay, so let's say you're a Sony advisor. What
Vizier.
would you think about the vizier, if you will? What do you see as the argument then between, okay, we can leave it in that window where it is going to either before or after, it's going to be up against Doomsday and Dune 3. But there's the most business to be done in that window because that's when everybody's going to the theaters. Families are probably going to go to the theaters multiple times and all that kind of stuff. Or the option of moving it further away, October, November, January, February. Less people going to the theaters, but you won't be head to head with movies like Doomsday and Dune 3. There's pros and cons to both. What would the Vizier Burnett advise?
You know what? To be honest, I would move it into November. I'd move it close to Thanksgiving, and I don't know what's coming out. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a release schedule in front of me.
Schedule,
but that's what I would do because I think Jumanji is there is some crossover to it. But on the other hand, we've had over the years that I've streamed with you, John, we've had murderer's rows of films coming out in the holiday season, and we've seen and usually
and many of them all do well.
Yes, like 3 or 4 of them have done extraordinarily well. I think that there's a case to be made. I think what they're thinking about, though, is, movies traditionally open on a Thursday. Big movies open on, they have previews. It wouldn't surprise me if there are fan screenings of Dune and Avengers the week before that week, like right. Monday or Tuesday. And I think that's why they moved Jumanji, because they knew that there's potential for these fan screenings or whatever that would eat into the first week box office of Jumanji. And I think that's why they moved it to Christmas, which I think is the right move. And if you're not going to go back a month or a half a month to Thanksgiving, moving on Christmas Day is great, because Christmas Day traditionally is a great launching pad for films. I saw Wolf of Wall Street on Christmas. I saw Hateful Eight on Christmas. There's all kinds of... I saw Schindler's List on Christmas Day. That was a hell of a Christmas movie for Jews like myself. But it was true. I mean, and that's when you go. And I think it's a good move. But as the Vizier, I'd move back to Thanksgiving. But there's probably a reason why they're not doing that. So,
all right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? In a really interesting move, Sony is moving Jumanji 3 from the week before Doomsday to the week after. Good move? Bad move? Would you do something else? Did you forget about Jumanji 3? You'd be forgiven if you did. There's all the attention is going to Doomsday. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. Listen, before we get on the next topic, you pointed out something on our mystical map of the kingdom of streaming.
Scriptwood?
First of all, let's go back to the map here. I want to point out, there's Scriptwood Village. There's also a production plot peak. There's the river's called the Flow of Ideas. There's Production Village, Warner Woods.
That's where I'll stage my attacks from, Warner Woods.
Yeah, there's Brosboro, MGM Woods, HBO Hills, Disney Dale is often going
because they're out there
to another part
That's
of the
for the
kingdom
sequel.
somewhere out. Yes, and more of the Paramount Peaks and Paramount
There you
Mountain. So there, I just wanted to show off some of those ones we had there. Anyway, all right, guys, I love that music. With that all down, let's move on to this, shall we? One of the more interesting Marvel shows to come out on Disney Plus was Wonder Man. And listen, for a long time, everybody knew this Wonder Man movie was coming. I mean, yeah, we got Sir Ben Kingsley returning as Trevor. That's awesome. We got Yahya Abdul-Mateen is going to be Wonder Man. He's great. But it was kind of a forget about it kind of a series. Nobody really paid attention to it. It seemed like it was going to be really forgettable. For a little while, a lot of people thought, they might just scrap it because nobody cares. Even I admit, my interest in it was measurable, but not high, right? But man, it shocked us. It was great. Wonder Man was fantastic. It totally surprised me. And I'm not going to say it was my favorite of the shows. I mean, I personally will still put, obviously, WandaVision over it, and maybe one or two other things, but it was so good. And, for a Marvel show that had no big battles, no big explosion. Well, that's not true. There was like one big explosion.
Yeah.
That was very key to the plot. But like no big villains. It was just a great story about these two guys develop their relationship and one guy having these emerging powers. It was a true origin story. And it was just absolutely incredible. I was really shocked by how good it was. But here's the thing. They were clear. This was a limited series. It was a one-shot. That was it. Wonder Man. Season 1 was the only, they didn't even have to call it Wonder Man Season 1. It was just Wonder Man because it was a limited series. So it was right about the end of yesterday's show that Jonathan mentioned that word had just dropped. This is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. Wonder Man's been renewed for Season 2 with Yahya Abdul-Mateen and Ben Kingsley both returning. Only 2 other Marvel live action shows have received second seasons. And they write by the way, this entire scene was so good in the show. Anyway, it writes, the adventures of an actor trying to make it big in the Marvel Cinematic Universe will continue. Marvel Television's Wonder Man, perhaps the least comic book movie coded of the Superhero Factory show, has been renewed for a second season, and the key creative and talent team in front and behind the camera are also set to return. Yahya Abdul-Mateen and Ben Kingsley will return as Simon Williams and Trevor Slattery in their respective superpowered actor and ex-terrorist thespian around the show revolve. Again, of course, now Season 1, spoiler alert, Wonder Man rescues and helps Trevor escape from prison after he retook on the, what was his name again in it? He posed as
the Mandarin.
The Mandarin. As he
America.
retook on America, you'll never see me coming. As he takes that persona back on and everything. Look, I don't know what you do with the story in a Season 2, but much like Supernatural, which everybody knows Supernatural was a show that I loved. And after season like 7, 8, I didn't care what the story of each season was. I just loved the characters in the show. So if you were going to give me, the Winchester boys and Castiel, and while he was just still there, Crowley and Bobby and whatever, as long as just those characters hanging out on the screen together, I could just sit down and watch. I just liked hanging out with those characters. And I almost didn't even care for the last 7 or 8 seasons what the story was. I can already tell you that I am very much looking forward to watching the next season because I just love Simon and Trevor together. I love just watching. There's a scene where they were hanging out in the apartment and they're just talking about classic old movies.
Yeah, they're doing their favorite quotes or whatever.
Oh my God. And as a movie fan, I'm just sitting there lapping it up. Like if they just had 8 episodes of the two of them talking about their favorite classic movies, I'm in. So, and obviously they're going to have, with Kevin Feige, they're going to have grander plans, but I'll tell you what, this is a surprise to be certain, but a pleasant one. I'm really excited about this. I never thought they'd do a season 2 for it, and yet here we are. Rob, were you surprised, not surprised to hear about this? And ultimately, is this a good idea to do a season 2?
Well, first of all, what was so great about this show is it was unmistakably set in the Marvel universe, but it didn't rely on special effects or apocalyptic battles. It was the time-honored tradition of mismatched protagonists. Two very different guys, that
odd
were
couple.
The odd couple, and they just, with two great actors that played off one another so beautifully. And the most important thing is not a lot of money to be spent. You're making a great show, and I'm willing to bet you that the viewing numbers of this show have stayed strong. That this is a show that people have either watched and they've told their friends, and word of mouth has driven viewership, and people have gone back and watched this more than once. And I'll bet it has more, because of all the Marvel shows, like I have never been inclined to ever go back and watch She-Hulk, for instance. This show, I've watched this show a couple times. And sometimes I'll just tune in to one episode, and just because it's short, it's about people. I think we like any great movie or television show at its core is the story of two human beings. Superheroes are great. I love superheroes. But my favorite movies are about normal people. But this has kind of both. You've got normal actors are not normal characters, and one of them is a superhero, and one of them used to be the Mandarin. So they're not normal, but they're two dudes.
They're struggling just like anyone else.
Yeah, and you watch them, and their chemistry is off the charts. The acting is so much fun to just watch these guys. The real question, John, is Josh Gad going to come back?
That's the question the whole world is asking.
What
happened to Josh Gad?
And I hope they don't tell us. I hope they keep it a secret.
Will the doorman figure out a way to
give
us Josh Gad? But you have to bring back.
Of course you do. But I think the show. I think this was probably turned out to be, based on viewership, very profitable. It also shows a different direction, because it's Marvel saying, you know what, we don't have to do New York destroying apocalyptic stories. We can do stories like this.
Yeah,
we can explore the Marvel universe in ways that we ourselves didn't realize how successful they could be. Somebody did, because they made the show in the first place. But this was a swing, and it's interesting because we had heard, I don't know if you were with us at Comic-Con, when I heard from somebody at Marvel that works at Marvel, 2 years before this aired, not last Comic-Con, but the Comic-Con before, how good this show was. And I was like, really? And
it was sitting in the can for a long time.
Yeah, and it turned out it really was good. And I think that it took a different approach, because it rather than worry about whether or not, is this Marvel enough? They worried about, are these characters good? Which is what they should always do. And yet, it was a great Marvel show as well. So
I think it even surprised Disney, because they made a move that, look, you can say whatever you want. Dropping all the episodes at once was a bit of a sign that they didn't have a lot of faith in it.
Yeah.
And they just wanted to get it out there. I'll go out on a ledge right now and say, whatever they do with season 2, I bet it becomes a week to week.
I think
if this thing had come out, like, you launch
100%.
it with the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then do 2 or 3 or 4 weeks of the more. I think you would have seen viewership and word of mouth and talk, and it just would have gone up and up and up. And I bet you they do that with season 2.
I think you're absolutely right. I think Disney themselves were surprised.
Yeah.
And I think, the people at Marvel weren't, because they made it. But I think that the people at Disney are like, well, this is kind of off-brand for you guys. Nothing is off-brand if it's great storytelling. Nothing. And the fact that they even made this show shows that the people at Marvel, if given their, druthers, probably could come up. This makes me wonder, how many other off-brand concepts did they come up with that they didn't go with? And I'd love to see them. I can tell you this, Vision Quest is, I think, more along the lines of a Wonder Man and a WandaVision than other kinds of shows are. And it's character-based. The idea that they brought back James Spader to play Ultron or the voice of Ultron, however that's going to work. I think it's going to be no. No, I did not.
Okay.
I did not. But I do think it's going to be along those lines as well. And I think that's what they found, that secret sauce. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, its strength from Iron Man 1 has always been the actors and the characters that they've allowed to be in that universe. They've always hit pretty much. I'd say 90% of the time they have given us actors and characters we love. And if they let those characters cook, that's what you get. You get Wonder Man. You get WandaVision. You get the Avengers.
And we'll see what they got in store. Like, what's the story going to be for season 2? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to finding out. Guys, what do you think? This thing that was supposed to be a limited one-time series is now getting a season 2, and I couldn't be happier. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that all down, it's time now for us to move on to, of course, the most important part of our show, which is taking your questions. But before we do, we got to do two things. First, bid good afternoon to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, my friend. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
John, I think we need a storytelling segment once a week from now on.
Maybe the Bard will come out once a week and tell a tale. All right, man. And also, the other thing we have to do is thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends over at Pocket Hose. This episode is brought to you by Pocket Hose, the world's #1 expandable hose. Guys, I got to tell you, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is absolutely fantastic. First of all, if you've ever dealt with one of those old school hoses, you know exactly how annoying they are. They kink, they crease up at the spigot, and half the times it feels like you're fighting the hose more than actually watering anything. But the Pocket Hose Copperhead has this pocket pivot that swivels 360 degrees so you get full water flow and way more freedom to move around your home and yard with ease. And here's the part I really love. When you're done, it shrinks right back down to pocket size, which makes it ridiculously easy to carry, handle, and store. And after trying the Pocket Hose, I am never going back. I even now pack it with me and bring it in my camper van. It's that versatile and that good. Plus, it's backed with a 10-year warranty, which is awesome. So for a limited time, my listeners and viewers get a free pocket pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size of Copperhead hose. Just text Campea to 64,000. That's Campea to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Campea to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. And thank you to our friends at Pocket Hose for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that all down, let's get over to your questions here, shall we? Once again, there's 2 different ways to send in questions. If you're watching this show later in the day when we're not live, you can use our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And then if you are watching live, you use the super chats. But let's get things started by going to the tip link questions, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
Okay, first up, let's go to the tips here. So Raymond says, it's the end of the road for Star Trek Starfleet Academy as Paramount decided not to renew the series after filming 2 seasons. It joins Prodigy 2 seasons and the original series 3 seasons. Ending on a short note, I hope they didn't end on a cliffhanger. We'll never know because I didn't watch.
Who cares? Yeah, I mean, look, I was actually very enthusiastic about it when I heard, #1, Paul Giamatti and what's her name?
Let's see.
She was in Man of Steel. She was and now I'm freezing on it.
Holly Hunter.
Holly Hunter, thank you. Not Man of Steel. She was in Batman vs Superman. When I heard Paul Giamatti and Holly Hunter were in it, these are prestige, award-winning performers. I thought this could be pretty good. But then I saw the trailer for it. Now, and by the way, I'm also a huge fan of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. That show's fantastic. So I was like, okay, Paul Giamatti, Holly Hunter, story revolving around Starfleet Academy. This could be really good. But I saw the trailers and I'm like, I have no interest. I did not think the trailers were good at all, and I just never got into it. I never started watching it. Maybe I will. But then I also canceled my Paramount Plus. That hurt it too. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe someday I'll check it out. But yeah, got canceled. It's going to be ending after the 2nd season. Surprised it even got a 2nd season.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Thomas, how would you rate Project Hail Mary against other buddy movies? I thought Ryan Gosling and Dwayne Johnson were a great double act.
Sorry, what?
Wait, Ryan Gosling and Dwayne Johnson?
What were they ever in together?
I don't know.
Am I missing something?
Maybe he meant a different Ryan.
Anyway, I don't tend to do any rankings or anything like that. Wait, I just got it.
Because of The Rock.
Because Rocky's a rock.
Get off my plane.
Okay. I get it. Anyway, I don't tend to rank in all-time lists or anything like that movies once I've just seen them. I tend to try to let them marinate with me for a while. So I don't know, but it's right up there. It's funny. I've never even considered the movie like a buddy movie, but I guess in many ways you're right. It kind of is.
Yeah.
Guys, Project Hail Mary is so good. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's remarkable. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Miami James says, hey, John, big fan. When you talk about seeing movies like Project Hail Mary multiple times in theaters or all the movie meetups, how do you keep that experience fresh each time? What are you focusing on during repeat viewings? I feel like I'd burn out.
Nah. Look, allow me to be crude for a moment, but it makes the point. Have you had sex more than once?
Have you dined at Skanky Bum?
Have you supped at the Skanky Bum? Why? Why do it more than once? Because it's a great experience.
You do pick up more each time, too.
And you pick up a little something more each time you do it, right?
Sometimes VD, sometimes more. Details in a movie.
Yeah, fist my bump. So, yeah, to me, movies are experiences. And even if I've seen them multiple times, I love the experience. So I'll go back for the experience again. If it's a good movie, it's always fresh to me. And like John was saying, like each viewing I've had of Project Hail Mary, I pick up little details that I missed before. And so, yeah, to me, a great experience is a great experience, whether it's a brand new one or a repeat one. All right, what's next?
We got Simon, who says, greetings, John. First wanted to share that your show got me through some difficult times. I'm greatly appreciative.
Oh, thank you, man.
Can't stop thinking about Project Hail Mary. I don't think I've sobbed so much in the cinema before. What a beautiful film it is. There was only one scene where I teared up.
I'll tell you what, though. I've never seen a movie where I've seen so many people crying in it. And this is not a cry movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there are definitely very emotional moments. Like I said, I talked the story about this one woman I was sitting beside who like audibly sobbed like 8 times.
I would love to know what the heck she was sobbing about. Like there was some things to unpack there.
Oh, I mean, there are a number of really emotional parts, but I mean, I only got choked up about once or twice, but still, I've never seen a movie where, particularly multiple times, where so many people in the theaters are sobbing and howling at the same time. But I mean, yeah, it pulls on the heartstrings a bunch. All right, what's next?
Oh, we got Tree Fitty. It says, Oscar telecast fixes. Move the short categories to the Science and Technical Achievements ceremony months later. Then remove all the musical numbers and have a musical nominees showcase concert the night before. That saves 30 to 45 minutes easy.
You can't make a showcase concert of 5 songs. Yeah. You can't do that. I kind of like what they did this year. Like, let's be realistic. Only 1 or 2 of them are going to have a shot. Just do a musical number for 1 or 2 of them. I'm okay with that. That works for me. I'm also okay with one big medley where like 30 seconds of each song is performed and then it flows into the next nominee song. And then there you got 2.5 minutes. Great. I do like the idea. People get mad at me, but screw you. I don't care if you're mad at me. I've said for a long time, I think they should move the shorts categories to the other night. Look, I'm sorry. The audience at home does not care about the shorts. I'm not saying they shouldn't be Oscar categories. I'm not saying the wonderful artists who make those movies shouldn't get an Oscar. But there's a lot of categories and things that get their Oscars on the other night, the non-broadcast night. And does anybody want to argue with me that more than 3% of the audience at home cares about the short categories? Does anybody want to argue with me that less than 3% of the audience at home had ever even seen one of the short category projects? The Oscar broadcast is about the audience. And maintain the integrity of the awards, yes. But then when you think about the broadcast, I'm sorry, nobody at home cares. It's not a question about whether they should care or shouldn't care. That's a completely different discussion. That's a worthy discussion to have. Maybe the audience should care about them. I'm not going to argue with that. But they don't care. So you are literally just wasting broadcast time. Honor them and give them their Oscars on another night. I agree with you completely. I've always thought that. And people get all pissy at me for thinking that. Tough. Deal with it. But yeah, that's kind of what I think. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Fedora says, saw Project Hail Mary yesterday. Thought it was okay. I loved a lot of it. Loved the visuals, the sets. I felt it had too much comedy and not enough drama. Never felt true peril for the characters. Too lighthearted and jokey. Started to drag near the end.
I mean, listen, as all art is subjective, and therefore your opinion of the movie is no less valid than mine. I can only tell you how radically I disagree. I thought there was many moments of great peril. Actually, I talked to several people who saw it for the first time and did not read the book. They thought for sure Rocky was dead. Sorry, I'm saying too much. And the humor is, that's part, if you, obviously you did not read the book and that's fine. But like, that's absolutely part of the DNA of the movie. It's not meant to be this grim. The Martian is the same way. The Martian is filled with humor. It doesn't take away from the stakes at all. Anyway, so you felt that way. I respect that. It hit you in a certain way. All I can tell you is that it hit me a radically different way than it hit you.
Another issue that people said, oh, well, there was issues and then they discovered the fix for it real quick. I'm like, and some people even said, unlike The Martian. I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah, I don't think you remember The Martian.
He would have a problem. He'd communicate back to NASA, and the next scene, they'd be like, okay, we got the fix. Let's move on again.
Yeah. Anyway, so again, I am not trying to undermine your feelings on the movie. Your feelings on the movie are your feelings on the movie. Totally valid. Again, all I'm saying is that mine are radically different than yours. It hit me in a very different way. All right, what's next?
We got Jacob. We're going to switch over to our supers now. We got Jacob, who says, John, I know most of the audience may not care, but this Bachelorette drama definitely impacts the industry. Might want to look into it.
Why on earth would I do that? When have I once ever talked about reality TV on this show?
It affects that portion of the industry.
It is no offense intended to anybody who watches reality TV, but to me, and I'm only speaking for myself, it is the absolute lowest common denominator of human existence. So I really do not give two squirts of urine about it. Again, that's just me, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't. If you do, more power. But yeah, I really don't care about it, and definitely not getting any airtime on my show. All right, what's next?
King Daddy says, a rock puppet made me cry. John, 9 out of 10.
I can't believe how emotional a rock puppet made me feel, and how much I now love this stupid rock puppet. It's crazy what what they did with that. You know, when I went through the book, I'm like, how on earth are you visually going to do this character? Like, I had no idea. And I looked online, this is long before the movie came out, about what some fans, artists' concepts was about what Rocky would look like. And I'm like, how are you going to do this? And man, they pulled it off. All right, what's next?
Super Nintendo Chalmers says, are you still watching Matlock? I'm surprised how good this show continues to be.
You know what? I was stunned by how good Matlock season 1 was. Because that, again, looks like just another throwaway network broadcast TV show. And some people turned me onto it, and I watched it. I'm like, holy crap. And it actually became a must-watch week-by-week viewing for me and Ann. We loved it. But season 2 came, and we didn't realize it had started. So we have not started watching season 2 yet. Ann and I, this is going to be a show that Ann and I have to sit down and watch together, and we're planning when we're going to do that. But I haven't watched season 2 yet. I am committed to season 2 because I loved season 1. But I haven't watched Fallout season 2 yet.
Oh wow, yeah.
I finally got caught up with Paradise season 2, but I did not get caught up on Fallout season 2 yet. So I've got a number of things on my dance card that I got to get caught up on. All right, what's next?
Leo says, buy, rent, lose 1. Dune 1, Oppenheimer, and Hail Mary.
I'd
probably rent Dune 1 because I think Dune 2 is better.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. I'm going to say buy Project Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Rent Dune 1, lose Oppenheimer.
I see Oppenheimer.
I love Oppenheimer. I love it, but
it's heavy.
I like everything else on that list too. So that's the game.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Fortunately, we don't have to. Mashawn says in a £20 super chat. Thank you. Hey John, I've watched you since the Collider days. You helped spark my love for movies, so thank you. I've missed some MCU TV shows like Agatha, Ironheart, Wonder Man. Are they essential for the MCU, or can I skip them?
Okay, I'm going to get to that question in a second. Bring up this comment, one of the most recent comments from Aaron75.
Aaron75.
All right, so Aaron in the live chat, it's funny because obviously Aaron didn't see the thing. Yes, he goes, honestly, Rocky should have been a surprise and a spoiler. But the commercial showed him in it and marketing discussed it. It's a shame they ruined it. Ryan Gosling gave the best response to that, which is, so E.T. should have just
thought that.
E.T. should have just told people it's about a sad kid whose parents got divorced.
Yeah.
Rocky is a key part of the movie. Rocky is not a surprise. The movie is about Grace and Rocky. So like, again, did they make a mistake telling people that this little kid, Elliot, this sad kid from a divorced family, did they ruin the movie by revealing he meets an alien? No, it's ridiculous. The concept is ridiculous. The story of Project Hail Mary is about Grace and Rocky. So showing Rocky, one of the main characters the movie is about, in the trailer is not a spoiler, nor does it ruin anything at all. Anyway, so let's get back to the question and bring it up again, just so I can. So asking about like Agatha, Ironheart, Wonder Man. All right, so here's what I'll say. Neither Agatha, Ironheart's terrible, but it's all subjective to me. It was just awful. But Agatha, which was surprisingly good, Ironheart, which was surprisingly terrible, and Wonder Man, which is shockingly great. None of them are essential viewing to watch MCU movies. If that is your criteria, and by the way, thank you for your super chat. Thank you for supporting us on that level. But if your criteria is it essential in order to watch the movies? The answer to all of them is no. They're not. They're not essential to watch in order to watch the movies. I would argue, other than WandaVision, none of them are essential to watch in order to watch the movie. Even Loki. Loki is absolutely worth watching, but is it essential to watch in order to understand the movies? Nah, they'll give you a one line that kind of, in Avengers Doomsday, you'll get one or two lines that kind of sum up what position Loki is in by the time you meet him. Nothing other than WandaVision was probably essential viewing. But I would say this. I would suggest that maybe you're robbing yourself of a couple of really great shows if your only criteria is, are these essential to watching the movies? Agatha All Along was surprisingly good. I think it was definitely an entertaining watch. I think you should watch it. Wonder Man was fantastic. Essential to watching the movies? No. But guess what? We were just talking about, you don't watch Succession because it's essential to watch Doomsday. You watch Succession because it was just a good show. And so I would say that, yeah, watching The Bear, you don't need to watch The Bear in order to watch any movies out there.
Yeah.
But you watch The Bear because The Bear was a good show. I would suggest giving Agatha All Along a shot and definitely giving Wonder Man a shot. You can pass on Ironheart. It was terrible, but watch those two. That's my recommendation. All right, what's next?
Amin says, why do you think, who do you think would have done a better job in an alternate world? Ryan Gosling as Mark Watney or Matt Damon as Ryan
that's
Grace?
A great question. So the two guys starring in Andy Weir movies, The Martian and Project Hail Mary, both based on books written by the same author, and then adapted into screenplays by who was it, Godard, who did the screenplay? I think so. Anyway.
So the characters aren't changed. He's just saying the
characters,
actors took on the role.
Which would have been better, Ryan Gosling playing Mark or Matt Damon playing Grace? I will say I think Matt Damon is a better fit for the Grace character than Ryan Gosling would be a fit for the Mark character.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. See, they're both great actors, so they both would have done wonderfully in each other's roles.
Yeah.
But I think Matt Damon is a little bit of a better fit for Grace than Ryan Gosling is for Mark.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think Ryan Gosling was a better fit for Grace than Matt Damon was for Mark. But if you're going to switch him up, I think Damon.
Then exactly. Yeah.
Great question, though. I love that one. All right, what's next? Somebody in the live chat, Matt Ween saying, Rocky hate Mark.
Leo says, saw Project Hail Mary yesterday in IMAX 70. Love the visuals and the aspect ratio switch. Some mid-scene switches distracted me. These were perfect.
I've seen Project Hail Mary now 3 times. I saw it in 70 millimeter IMAX. I saw it in regular screen IMAX, and I saw it in AMC Dolby Prime. Loved all 3 presentations. The aspect ratio thing does throw me off when it happens in a 70 mil presentation. I mean, only momentarily, but momentarily nonetheless. I loved it in all 3 presentations, and I'll probably see it in Dolby again tonight. So, oh no, I can't tonight because I'm going to watch Daredevil tonight.
Oh yeah.
All right, what's next?
Christopher says, finish Young Sherlock show. It was pretty good.
You know what? That was not on my radar at all. I had heard about it, but wasn't on my radar at all. But I heard from a number of you guys that the new Sherlock thing was actually really quite good. So I'm going to give that a shot. Once I get caught up on Fallout, once I get caught up on Matlock season 2.
I'm behind on.
And I haven't started watching the new season of One Piece yet. I love season 1. So I got a few things I can catch up. But this Sherlock thing, I'm going to have to give a shot to. Yeah. All right, what's next?
Jesse says, now we wait for the 3rd one of Andy Weir's movie adaptations, Artemis. Bring it on.
Not read Artemis, but I heard it's his weakest book. So I don't know if any of you in the live chat can back that up or not. But Artemis was kind of the forgotten one, the kind of thrown away one. But apparently Lord and Miller is saying they're going to do one on Artemis. So maybe I have to get the book and give it a try. But everybody tells me it's the weakest of the 3 books.
Maybe it's this rare situation where the adaptation is better than the...
Yep. I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, look at The Boys. The show is better than the comic it's based on.
Right.
So maybe it'll happen. All right.
Kyle says, just finished the book, Project Hail Mary. An amazing book. Need to watch the movie. I want to know the numbers on novel sales for Project Hail Mary and how much it's spiked.
I bet you they've spiked. You know what? I'll go look up the numbers later, but I bet you the numbers.
I'd venture to say it's probably like Barnes & Noble's #1 book sold right now.
I would probably guess you're right. All right. What's next?
That's a good name. Man, do I love movies. Are you guys gonna talk about Harry Potter still image?
No. I had a bunch of people, when I put out a call for stories today, most days, once I'm starting to wrap up the story lineup for the show, like before I start making the thumbnail and getting the main thing put up and going deeper into stuff, I'll then jump on our community tab and I'll put out a call, say, hey guys, just tying up, getting the finishing notes, the finishing touches on today's show notes. Are there any topics you want to make sure we talk about? And one of the ones that some people put in, there's a new picture of Harry Potter.
Right.
And it's just from the back.
I know. When I saw it, I got excited. And then I thought, well, that's just a tease.
Yeah. Now we've already seen pictures from the street. We've seen pictures of Hagrid. We've seen pictures of the kid, and we've talked about
that. Could have been a fan poster,
But I'm like, I don't really see anything here to talk about. It's a picture of the kid's back. So no, we're not going to talk about it. And if some other pictures come out that actually give us some more stuff, probably, because I am excited about the show, but that wasn't. What was there to talk about?
He's going to play Quidditch.
Rob, what do you think of this picture of the kid's back?
Yeah.
Anyway, all right,
we
what's
got
next?
Christopher, who says, I may be late, but I must say on paper, Catherine Hahn as Mother Gothel in live action Tangled seems like perfect casting. Let's see how it's executed.
Yeah, I said that. I totally agree. I've said that before. I completely agree. It does seem on paper like absolute perfect casting. To me, Catherine Hahn can do no wrong. Like, honestly, she can do no wrong. She is so good. And I love seeing her in anything. And see if you get this reference. And I mean anything. Kudos if you got the reference. Anyway, what's next?
Scott says, how does Sony get the record trailer view number? Are they including all influencer release clips and padding their stats by splitting it up?
No, they did not throw in the little influencer clips. Those weren't part of the numbers. That's what they officially said at any rate. So it's the same way they calculate all the trailers from everybody else. All the various recognized channels that carry the trailer, they add up those numbers and put them together. And that's the same way they do for every other trailer. But no, I've been asked several times. I did look into it. And apparently, at least the official position with Sony is that, and Market Catch, by the way, it also says, no, that does not include the little 1.5 second clips from the various social stuff. All right, what's next?
Quantum, no, Amin says, forget the Campea classroom. We need Campea story time at least once a week. Bravo team, all that was missing was cosplay. Well, we had a little cosplay. It had a hat.
Yeah, I went in, and actually, Anne might get mad at me, but right before the show, I'm like, I got to find a hat. And my wife loves cosplay, so I thought maybe she's got something. This is actually, and I thought this kind of looks like a bard hat.
Yeah.
But this is actually my wife's
for her doctorate?
doctoral graduation cap. This is the type of cap you wear when you graduate with a doctorate.
Well, we won't say anything.
And so, I'm gonna get in trouble when she gets home that I pulled this out. But it was the only thing I could find at the last second. I didn't know if that bit was gonna go over for everybody who's gonna think it was stupid. I liked it though. I had fun doing that.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
We got Quantum of Zen. I now need a poster of the land of streaming.
Maybe somebody should make an animated show.
I know.
Play me the music again. It's story time.
If you guys knew how long we took in the pre-show prep just picking the song.
Dude, listen, the show for us starts at noon. I started around 7 a.m. So about 5 hours before showtime to start getting all the stuff together. Right. And like, I spent so much time today, like with everything about that one story. And then when Jonathan got here, I'm like, we're just taking time going through all the different pieces of music about what's going to be our story time music, that I was actually worried we were not going to be able to start I was being very irresponsible. I almost thought we weren't going to be able to start today's show on time, but we made it. We crossed the finish line.
Yeah. And
we didn't let Rob know about it.
Right.
Rob had no idea we were going to do that story time thing. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Cubby Jack says, we're in our final 5 here. Do you think Mike Coulter and Finn Jones will reprise their respective roles in the MCU within the next 2 years?
Well, here's the thing. Finn Jones has advocated to come back for years, right? And Mike Coulter used to say that he was done with Luke Cage. But we talked about on the show a number of months ago, he kind of changed his tune. He's then started, like he went from saying, that was a great part of my career, but I'm moving on to other things now, and that's behind me. And then in recent interviews the last couple of months, it's like, I think with the right script, I'd be open to coming back to playing Luke Cage again. Yeah, I think we're going to get them both back. I think even Finn Jones. And listen, Iron Fist was terrible. But I don't think Iron Fist being terrible was Finn Jones's responsibility or his fault. But I'm now starting to think maybe within the next 2 years we will see them both back. We'll see. I don't think this season of Daredevil, but maybe season 3, I think maybe we could see them both back. I haven't heard anything, just to be clear. This is just me guessing. All right, what's next?
This is kind of an interesting question. Could Jafar Jackson get nominated for an Oscar in his role as Michael?
Every actor coming out in any movie this year could get nominated for an Oscar. So that's the answer.
But when we think about it, it's like the performance stuff we've seen, he looks like him. That's great. I never really thought about this. This is his only acting role he's ever had for a major movie. And it's a major movie.
And listen, he could knock it out of the park. He might be terrible. Don't know. So,
yeah.
But could he?
Yeah.
Yes. In as much as every actor in every movie coming out this year could, he could too. So we'll have to wait and see.
Then we got Kelsey who says, I know you're not a fan of the guy running AMC, but if you were in charge, what changes would you make to fix the movie-going experience?
I'm not going to go into the full hour-long diatribe I would actually do on this. Just a few things off the top of my head. One, nobody wants 32 minutes of commercials before their movies. So I would take care of that. I would take some short-term hits by reducing the price of concessions. That's just now. There's not much you can do about the price of tickets because that's also done in that's partially controlled by the studios. The studios demand certain ticket prices because the ticket price, ultimately the cost of the ticket doesn't go to the movie theater really. Ultimately, the vast majority of the movie ticket price goes to the studios. That's a separate issue, separate discussion. That's a bigger picture thing for all theaters in the whole industry. But the first two things I would do, and there are many others, but again, I'm not going to go into the full hour-long diatribe here. Just the first two things I would do in the first 5 minutes that I would be in the CEO office, which they should never give me that job, by the way, is number one, drastically reduce the amount of commercial time because people paid money to come and sit in my theaters. They didn't pay money to come and watch a half hour of commercials.
And
I would start reeling in the concession prices.
And I hate that you want to run commercials, run ads, those commercials, then run your trailers because then it's like whoever's in there that early, whatever. Dude, I loathe, actually, that they put in these, like, whatever commercial they have interstitched with trailers.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding me?
And by the end, okay, so then they play not one, not two, but 3 AMC commercials.
And forbid that you go to IMAX or Dolby because then you got to watch a director talk about how great that Dolby theater is.
Yeah. Yeah, not just the director, but then they do the other movie theaters. This is what black is.
Which makes no sense.
Like seriously, like I'm in watching Project Hail Mary. It's like there's not one, not two, but 3 AMC commercials. You have the we want to thank our AMC stubs. And then heartbreak feels good in a place like this. And then the couple going through movie scenarios with their Coca-Colas, like come to the AMC concession stands, like 3 AMC commercials when I'm sitting in an AMC theater.
Run that stuff before the trailers.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on,
If you want to run it. All right. Zach, Pasta Sauce Walters, this is our final. Is it just me or does The Rock's wig in Moana make him look like Troy Polamalu?
I had that exact conversation with somebody.
It reminds me of like a 17th century wig. It kind of reminds me of the guy in the background here. It looks like the guy in the background here.
What are they called? The Volturi?
Yeah.
By the way, don't care. I like the last Twilight movie. I do. I'm not a fan of any of the other ones. When it comes to Twilight, there are things they do in the Twilight series that I respect. There are some things they do in it, but not really a fan of the movies per se. But I actually liked the last Twilight movie. And Michael Sheen is one of the reasons for that. But yeah, anyway, getting back to the thing about... actually, that's a good point. Some Still Comics in the live chat is saying it looks like a Weird Al Yankovic wig.
It's not bushy enough. Something wrong with it.
There are wigs you can put on Dwayne Johnson that will look like it's hair on Dwayne Johnson. That wig does not fit him.
Yeah.
It just does not look, it looks like a wig. And I'm not just saying that because we know Dwayne Johnson shaves his head, but there are many wigs you can put on him that says, okay, that looks like his hair. That wig does not look like it's in place.
I'm telling you, this looks like this is a wig from Pirates of the Caribbean. It's just like too curly or something. It's not.
It just looks like a wig on his head.
Yeah.
You know, again, but that's the 1 or 2 shots, maybe in the context of the whole movie, it will feel different. I'm leaving room for that. So anyway, well, we'll see. And all right, guys, that endeth story time. That'll do it for today's episode of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show a part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you so much for your support. I will, tonight, after Daredevil, be putting up a short reaction to the episode. But tomorrow, and the reason I'm doing it tomorrow is to make sure everybody has a chance to watch episode 1 of Daredevil. We are going to do a Daredevil after show, open spoiler after show tomorrow. So it'll be the day that gives you guys, if you don't have a chance to watch it tonight, you have a chance to get caught up and watch it tomorrow. So we're going to be doing a Daredevil Season 2, Episode 1 after show tomorrow. Hopefully you guys will join us for that in the evening. And of course, the next episode of the John Campea Show will be tomorrow as well. We hope you guys will come back and join us for that. So big thanks to Robert Meyer-Burnett for being here, for our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name is John Campea, guys. Thank you so much for being here. And until next time, my friends, travel well.